Good morning, everybody. Flipping through my little notebook here. Good morning, good morning. I have to find my basic pattern here. Alrighty. I think I found what I need. Yesterday we did fish. Today I'm going a little bit back to basics. I'm going to be doing my basic amigurumi doll here. I will be seeing my grandson this weekend. I'm very excited. And even though he crochets, he informed me that his plushies look like potatoes. Good morning, Janie. So he asked me if I would make him a plushie for his little brother that looked like a cat, black cat. So we're going to use the same basic. This is the basic doll in worsted weight. This is the basic doll in blanket yarn, and I don't mind doing it. And I don't mind sitting here doing it for you guys. The only bad part about it is he wanted the cat to be black. So, black yarn it is. And this is another one of those skeins that have been sitting in my daughter's room. So we're going to try to get to the center pull of this. I don't know if I'll be able to do it or not. Try to get myself straight here. And let's see what we got inside here. Ooh, that is not the center pull. I never know what I'm getting when I get a ball of this. Ooh, there it is. That was not too bad at all. So I'll just tuck that back down inside there, and I have some gold. Maybe I'll make some bees later. I know last night I've been jumping on in the evenings. I started making pink granny squares for another granny bag. You can see my granny bags behind me. Thank you very much for all the likes. Thank you everybody that's joining me. I did try to wear a light colored shirt today since I'm working with black. But this pattern is on my website. It is, I know Janie, you hear the same thing every day, over and over again, but it's a basic amigurumi doll. The pattern for the basic doll is on my website. There's actually a link right to that page on my Linktree. And also on my page I have basic puppet patterns. So I have a basic pointed nose puppet pattern and a basic rounded nose puppet pattern, so if you want to make them into other things. I do that because I find that it is very difficult to find basic patterns. Like, all I want is a basic pattern. I know how to make ears, I can change the colors, I can do things like that. But when you're looking for a basic pattern, it's really, really hard to find just basic patterns. So this is basic doll, although I do have the patterns and the notes on there if you wanted to make the cow, a giraffe, or a bunny out of it. I don't have any notes yet with my puppets, so they're just basically basic sock puppets. Again, on my website. My website is not a blog site. It is not full of ads and clickbait. It is just, you need reminders. This is the basic rounded nose puppet, and from that I made the unicorns, dogs. If you go to my YouTube channel, which there's also a link in my Linktree for my YouTube channel, all my lives that I do in the mornings, I upload to YouTube. So you could go to my YouTube channel, and there's a link to that as well. Nifty Knots Talk. And subscribe to that, and whenever I upload a video you'll see it. A lot of them, just about everything I do in the morning is some sort of tutorial, like the basic dolls were tutorials. The how to make the motifs on the granny squares pop, that's a tutorial. The shark puppet, there are actually 2 tutorials on that. They are patterns that I do sell, but I actually went through the whole shark puppet. So how to do the 3-dimensional teeth, how to do the short rows and make the fins. I did the whole shark puppet. So if you wanted to do the shark puppet, you could go to those 2 videos and actually watch it without buying the pattern, and you would be able to see what I did for the most part. And the base for that pattern would be the pointed nose puppet, sock puppet. That's again free on my website. So yeah, check out my website if you want to check out my shop site. If you want to check out my YouTube channel, and I'm gonna get started with this because I'd like to finish it today so I can sit and do just granny squares and mindless stuff tonight. My coffee. Can everybody hear me okay? I'll chatter away until I lose my voice, I'm sure. Oh, thank you for the follows. Thank you for the joins. My flappy dog. Okay, so the majority of my, I was looking for my clipboard with my white paper just in case I need it. I'll find it eventually. The majority of my patterns, there are 2 ways. Amigurumi is very basic. It's just pretty much circles. If you know anybody that wants to learn how to do it, share this video. I'll be on here probably till about 11 o'clock. I'll probably get at least the majority of this doll done. This doll starts from the top, works its way down, all the way to the bottom, and it leaves a hole so that you can then go around and finish the second leg, and then finish the arms, and then put your pieces on. All of my patterns. Oh, I'm glad I saw that knot. I've been a little bit aggravated with that. I'm already aggravated with it, so this fixes some aggravation sometimes. Off with the knot. The Queen of Hearts. Off with their heads. Okay, so my basic patterns. A lot of people don't like starting circles because they don't like the fact that the majority of people now will write magic loop or magic ring, which is something that took me a really long time to learn. So any circle that you want to start, I'm going to tell you, you can also start with a chain 2 method. So you can chain 2, and you can put your desired amount of stitches, however many stitches that first round calls for, in the second chain from your hook. And then if you leave a long enough tail, you can go back afterwards and you can weave that together so that you don't get that like hole. Like when you start with your chain 2, there's always kind of like that gap. But you start with the chain 2 method, just leave yourself an extra long tail, and you can pull that together after you're done with your first round, or however far you're going to get on your piece. So this one is 6. Now, I do use a magic loop. 3, oh, I can tell right now I'm going to hate this. 4, 5, 6. I'm not all that fond of the blanket yarn to begin with, and this blanket yarn is black. Okay, so I will pull that and I will secure it. I will also say that no matter what anybody tells you about your magic rings and magic loops, I don't care how many times they tell you you have to wrap them and it'll still be secure, it will not. You have to at least pull that up and knot that. And I don't have an example I can show you right here, but I can tell you, I have to let my dog out, I'm sorry, I can still talk though. I can tell you that when you chain 1 through your magic loop, before you do your stitch, before you do your first initial single crochet, you will see where that chain 1 loop is. So after you've done that first round, you can pull your string really tight. Make sure you get it really tight. And after you've pulled that string really tight, thank you for bearing with me, It kills my wrist. Yeah, you know what? It's not what I'm used to. Like, that's a new thing, so it's not what I'm used to. Um, but when you make that magic loop, I'm trying to see if I have a decent color here to show you. I don't, of course not. You'll always see that little loopy part from your where you chained one. So here I have 1, 2, 3, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches. I know you can't see, but I'm just counting. And then this is going to be terrible. So I have my 6 stitch. This is my 6th stitch. It's the first one that I did. And you see beside it, there's like a little loop where I chained 1. I'm actually going to just get another hook. So I'm going to forget about what I was crocheting there for a second. And I'm going to take the tail of my yarn, and after I've pulled it as tight as I can to close my loop, I'm going to insert my hook into that little chain 1 loop that you first started with. You can see there's my single crochet. I know it's a little bit difficult, but there's my single crochets that I started with. This is the chain 1 that I secured the loop with, and I'm just going to take that tail and I'm going to chain 2 through that loop and push it down, and that secures it enough that it's not going to come apart. But you do have to secure a magic loop. I don't care what anybody says. If you do not secure that magic loop, I can guarantee you it will come undone the first time you wash it. Well, not the first time you wash it, the second time, but it will come loose and it will come undone. 1, 2, 3. All right, so this pattern is just very literally a basic circle. So my next round is going to be 12. So I'm going to put 2 in each stitch. When I do my amigurumi and my dolls, I like to use an invisible increase and an invisible decrease. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with this yarn because I can't even see it. An invisible increase would be, instead of making 2 stitches into the same hole, into the same, under the same 2 loops of that stitch, that's going to be terrible for you guys. Maybe not. Instead, I would do the first stitch of the increase into the back loop and the second stitch of the increase into the front loop. I have to mark this yarn because if I don't mark this yarn, I will have no idea where I am. And working amigurumi and working dolls and toys are usually always worked in a spiral. When you work in your spiral, you do not have the joining seam that you tend to get when you join your rounds and chain 1 and go back around. So let's see what I got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This is what makes me crazy about blanket yarn. 10, 11, 12. So that's the second round. Your basic circles are typically going to be increases of 6. Increases of 6 will give you a flat circle. Increases of 3 will give you a more pointed circle, a more pointed look. And let me just count these: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. The other thing that will change the way your pattern looks a little bit is if you work yarn over or yarn under. Yarn under would be to insert your hook and put your hook on top of your yarn and pull it through. So instead of looping your yarn over top of your hook and pulling it through, you would loop your hook over top of your yarn and pull it through. It gives a little bit tighter of a stitch, so it will alter the way it looks just a little bit, make it a little bit smaller. When I use the blanket yarn, I do not use a yarn under because I'm lucky I can see what I'm doing with the bigger stitches. So the next round is just 18. It's just a basic circle to 27. It's not a very long pattern. It doesn't take very long to do. Again, if you want it, it's on my website. Go to my link tree. There is a link right to that page with this doll. And also the accessory pieces to make the cow, the giraffe, and the bunny. Six. All right, what I do here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. 7, 8, 9, 10. Try to find my stitch here. 11, 12. 13, 14, 15. He just needs to wait a minute. 16. I think somewhere I added a stitch there. We'll just do the last two, 17 and 18, because that's what it's supposed to be. I'm a big advocate of things do not have to be absolutely perfect. If you can get your counts to come out right, you get them to come out right however you need to get them. Especially with something like this. With something like this, nobody's going to see that you increased a little bit too much and you had to like fudge the last couple stitches to get your round right. Nobody's going to notice that. They're just going to see your that. And I will, when I'm done with this, at some point probably tonight or tomorrow, upload the pieces for the cat. So like the ears that I'll do for the cat and like the tail that I'll do for the cat. Let me go get this crazy maniac and who's barking at the tree that we had to cut down in the middle of the yard. He thinks it's something he needs to bark at, even though it's not. But he has been happy with all the sticks out there, so he goes out, he throws around all the sticks. Okay, so my next round is 24. So I'm going to do 1, 2. Use my stitch markers. I always use my stitch markers. I should put this down a little bit so you guys can actually see me crocheting. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How's everybody's morning? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Tomorrow I should have this finished, and I can show you the finished product tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll, if I can get my pattern pieces up there, get my ears and my tail patterns up there for this cat. So I did 24, I'm going to do 27. So it's only going to increase by 3. So it's going to make the head a little rounder. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is there anybody out there that really likes to work with blanket yarn? Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now I have my 27 stitches. That'll be as big as the head, the top of the head. I don't know. I did make a blanket out of it, and I did not mind actually making a blanket out of it. This round's even, so I'm just gonna go around. I did not mind making a blanket out of it, and I did just a basic like seed stitch. Like I did single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1 all the way across, and then on the way back you single crochet in the chain ones, and you chain 1 over the single crochets. And because the yarn's so thick, it still worked up a tight blanket, but it didn't use quite as many stitches, so I didn't like go through like skeins and skeins and skeins, because when I first started I did it all with single crochet, and by the time I finished the first the first ball of blanket yarn, I thought, oh my god, is this all I'm getting out of a, because I wanted to make it for my grandson, but oh my god, is this all I'm getting out of it? So I used the seed stitch instead, and it held it pretty tight, and I did not use as much yarn. I used probably only 2/3 of the yarn that I would have used, and it was still a really nice blanket. Okay, let's see. So now I'm going to mark for my, I need to get something to mark for my eyes, because this round I'm going to mark where I'm going to put my eyes. So I'm just going to get a couple of pieces, a couple of scraps here. So, and this is all in the instructions. So I'm going to do 6 single crochets. I'm going to have to find eyes that are colored. I don't know if I have them. I'm going to show you how to put the eyes on this too. So I'm going to try and make Easter chicks, but I couldn't get past. Yeah, you know, just something about it. You love it and you hate it. It's like this like bittersweet. Like, it looks so nice and so pretty, but it just, I don't know if I like to work with it or not. So 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so now that I've done those 6 stitches, I am actually going to lay this piece of scrap yarn right in there and use that to mark that stitch. So that's where one eye is going to be. So then I'm going to do 4 more single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4 more single crochets. I'm going to mark this stitch. So that's where I'm going to put my second eye. You can see where my eyes will be. And then the last 15 of the round. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's the other thing. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I can show you 2 more rounds, and then, which I can just do even rounds. So I'm going to leave my stitch marker here so I can count up my 2 rounds and just go run in circles while I chat. Yeah, it makes the yarn funky when you take it out. I also, because my daughter wanted to try it, bought some of the velvet yarn. And I know one of the mornings we had a discussion about fixing the velvet yarn because she got to some parts in the skein of yarn where the velvet was off and it was just string. So we went over kind of like how you would repair that instead of having to take it all apart. We did that, I think one of the mornings. I don't remember which morning. I do know that I would have put it in the description if it was something like extra that I talked about. So if you go to my YouTube channel and you look at the Nifty Knots Talk playlist, if you look at the descriptions of the videos, you should see where I wrote in the description that we talked about repairing velvet yarn. It's not really repair, it's just kind of like a way to fudge it so that like you can fix it so that you don't have to tear everything back out just because that one patch of velvet yarn came apart. But this is blanket yarn. I have yet to try the velvet yarn. I have my brain's just like stuck on granny squares for some reason. Like I've been doing this a long time. I don't think I've ever really made granny squares. If I did, it was sometime in the 70s, and I don't even think I made them then. The only reason we actually made them was that you could stitch them together like quilt pieces to make like pillows that looked like animals. So you stitched all your blocks together so that it would look like some sort of animal. And this year it looks like everybody is in love with granny squares. So, and coming as I'm scrolling through ideas, trying to get some ideas for things to do, I saw the granny square tote bags, which I am a bag lady at heart. I love my bags. And when I saw those tote bags, I thought, I don't care if they're granny squares or not, I'll make them because I like the tote bags. And you can see this is one of them here, but they are pretty decent size. I love them. And I made a few of them. This one was my bunnies that I had. Made a few of them, sold some. Can't go wrong with that. So I made a few more so that I had some for markets in the summer. In the summer, my dad and I do a market together. He paints watercolors, and I do this. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to decrease back down to 24. So 7 and decrease. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, the pattern for this basic doll is on my website. No clickbait, no ads, just a pattern. And then the pieces. So when I do my invisible decreases, oh, you can actually see that pretty well. When I do my invisible decreases, I do not go through and pull up a loop and go through and pull up a loop. What I would do is I would go through, I would put my hook through the first front loop of the stitch I'm going to decrease, through the front loop of the second stitch that I'm going to decrease, and then I would pull through both of those two together and then finish my single crochet that way. And that way, when you're doing pieces like this that you're not going to see the back, you're only going to see the front, you don't get that like bump where you put things together. Just like with the invisible increase, you won't get that like extra hole where you put 2 stitches in one. Instead, you put 1 stitch in the back loop and 1 stitch in the front loop. This will be my last set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'll show you that one more time. I have 2 more stitches. Get the light right. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so I have 2 more stitches to decrease. So I'm going to take my hook. Oh, this needs to be down here. It has to be in the back. So I'm going to take my hook, and instead of going through the stitch, pulling it up, going through the stitch, pulling up, and pulling them 2 together, I'm going to go through the front loop of the first stitch, the front loop of the second stitch. So I have both of the stitches that I want to pull together to decrease. These are the front loops of those stitches. So then I'm going to take my yarn and I'm going to go through those 2 loops together and then do my last stitch, and that pulls it together and makes the decrease without making like that funny bump that you get from your decreases. Now I will say that when I'm working pieces where I'm going to see both sides evenly, like if I'm doing polyfill all over this, if I'm working a piece where you're going to see both sides, like a scarf or a shawl or something like that, then I would not use the invisible decrease, because it does look a little bit different on the back than on the front. I would just use a regular decrease or a regular increase. That way it's looks more even from the front or the back. But when I'm doing pieces like this, I'm going to use that invisible increase and decrease, because it is going to eliminate like the holes and the bumps. And now for the eyes. So let me just see what I got in the way of eyes. There's the clipboard. My scale. See, I think my daughter has her big black eyes. I have some noses there. Oh, the noses are like really cool. Noses. And I will tell you, while I'm just looking through all this stuff here, the noses, when I ordered them, did not come with the washers. Like the safety eyes come with the little washers. They did not come with washers. So I went to the hardware store with my little nose. And with my little nose. And I found these nylon washers. They don't clip on, but they are the exact size to slide over top. And then I melt this down. I use a lighter and melt it down so it melts over top of that hole so it doesn't come out like a safety. So it's almost like you had, like, it doesn't even have ridges in it. You can see that. But I mean, they were cute little noses. But yeah, so the nylon washers I got at the hardware store. And you can actually use them for the safety eyes too if you don't have enough or if you lose them. Just take your eye with you and just look for the, and that's what they were, nylon washers. They were super cheap, like a penny or two a piece or something like that. So if you're ever looking for washers for your eyes, that's a good replacement if you need to. All right, now I know I have my eyes over here. I have some colored ones in here. Colored ones in here. That's my mess of everything. I don't know which ones are bigger. I think they might probably all be the same size. I don't know if you'd see my... And I do have some little noses here. These little noses were a little bit different. They came with the set of eyes. The camera won't focus. There you go. My camera takes them into focus. But the eyes were like super small. These ones aren't too bad, but they're not very big, and I hate to put black eyes on a black cat. Like, I don't want them to feel like they're getting lost, but I guess they wouldn't. I guess they would be shiny. Let's try some of the bigger eyes and see what you guys think. Because I think those small eyes might be too small. So my noses, bigger eyes. So right where you put your yarn, you would just insert your eye into that stitch. I don't know, what do you think? He is supposed to be a black cat. I mean, I guess it's eye enough that you could tell. What do you guys think? I guess I could always put some white around it after I'm finished. Just stitch a little, like, white around the, embroider just a couple strings around the side of it so it looks a little bit more, maybe some green, I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go with those black eyes. This one looks like she's got it all scratched. Or should I go even bigger? She's got some, like, really big eyes. Big eyes for my cat? Let's see here. Do they look too big? I'll have some ears. The ears will come up to about here. And the nose on there somewhere. So you know I'd get that in the right spot. There we go. What do you think? Those eyes work? I think those eyes will work. I like the big ones. Yeah, I think they're good enough too. So once you get, pull that string out and put my eye right back where it was. To do my eyes, when I do my blanket yarn, I do have washers that fit on these. Grab my washers, move my stuff, and I can show you. how I do my eyes for my blanket yarn, because I don't like, I just feel like they're going to come through. I just don't feel like they're going to stick. I think they're just going to slide right through the blanket yarn. So I have this, it's Pellon interfacing. It's number 926. And I usually just cut a piece. That's a little bit bigger than my eye and my washer. And I poke a hole through it. This hole has to be pretty big to get that over that. And then on the back side of my eye, you can see where the back side's coming up. I take, you can use felt to do this too, actually, if you wanted to. I take that piece of Pellon and I pop it down over the post, and then I pop my washer down over the post. So this is the inside where I'm putting the eye there. And then I will take it in that little point there, I will burn it down. And as I was doing this the other day, I was thinking I should probably mention that if you are going to burn your safety eyes down like this, which I like to do because I feel like it just makes them a little bit more secure, they're not going to pop off. When you put your lighter on top, don't smush it too much. You can tell. Don't smush it too much. Just kind of push it down. I'll show you when I pop it off. Just kind of push it down just enough that it covers the, it'll pop off as soon as it dries. Just enough that it's going to cover the hole there. If you smush it down too much, you're actually going to make the sides a little bit too thin, and it would be able to pop off anyway. So I'm going to do the second side, the second eye, make sure I got it right, and then I will actually take my glue and run like a nice big bead of glue, permanent fabric glue, all the way around underneath this Pellon. So if you try to pull the eye out, the Pellon's stuck. If you tried to push the eye in, the Pellon would be stuck. I probably didn't need to with eyes this big, but I did. And I think I might actually move that eye over just a little bit. So I'm going to stuff it a little bit here. This is going to be horrendous. I'm going to have, it's going to look like I have like white cat hair everywhere. But I don't have that eye secured yet, so I want to stuff this head and see what it looks like with those big eyes that close together. And I think just enough to put, if I put ears on them and a nose on them, I can try this nose. I don't know if this nose quite looks like a cat nose, but I don't know. It looks more like a dog nose, but you can see what I'm doing. I'm not going to use that nose for the cat, I don't think. Maybe. I haven't decided. But I'm just trying to decide if I like those eyes there or if I wanted to move them over just a little bit. I think I might make them a little bit wider. I think I am going to make them just that little bit wider. Give me 1 second here. I think I hear somebody in my driveway, which I shouldn't. Today is one of those rare days that nobody. I actually have the house to myself. I I get the house to myself, I will tell you anymore. Maybe 2 or 3 days a year. That's it. And I work from home. But even so, I still only get the house to myself a couple days. Yeah, I think I like the eyes just a little bit wider to make a cat. Almost like the cat that won't be mentioned. Or should I say the kitty that won't be mentioned? I got called out by that particular company for copyright. I don't know how. Everybody sells copies. Everybody sells that kitty and makes that kitty into purses and patterns and everything, and everybody sells it. And for some reason, I get called out for a $5 pattern. Really? So I just took it and posted it for free. Because they just told me I couldn't make a profit off it. So I posted it for free. I think it's on Ravelry. Because Etsy will not let you post things for free. I tried to post something one day. So I'm working on my second eye. I tried to post something one day so that I could just send the document through Etsy to somebody, and they wouldn't let me put it in there as free. So I put it in as a penny, and they accepted that for the listing. But then when she went to purchase it, it told her that the price was too low. She couldn't purchase it. Like, really? So again, I'm going to put my hole in my piece of interfacing, take my stitch marker out because I have my eye in there. I will pop my interfacing over top of my safety eye. I will pop my washer on top of my safety eye, and I will burn it down just enough that it will cover that, create like a lip. And again, you just kind of want to smash it just that tiny little bit. Can't really, it's hard to see with the light since it's covering. You just want to smash it that tiny little bit. As soon as it cools, it'll pop right off. You don't want to smash it too much because you don't want that lip to be too thin or else it'll break off. And I haven't decided like what I want to do for a nose. Like, does that really work as a cat nose? What do you think? I should go get my cat. I could go do that. Oh, I've got a cat laying right over there. Let me go see what his nose looks like. I know. I just will sit here and chatter away half the times. I'm glad you guys tolerate me. I'm glad you guys come and sit here and watch me chatter away. Let me just see how close to this nose, my cat's nose, look like. I've never really paid attention. Much more of a dog person. But let's see here. I guess that could be a cat nose. I know, I'm sorry I woke you up. You can go back to sleep. I mean, it does that. It's a little bit pinker, but I mean, I think that would work. What do you guys think? Anybody want to give me an opinion on that? Do you think that would work as a cat nose? Or do you think I should put like a little puff? Maybe I'll do that. Put a little puff first and then put my nose on. Not quite like a big... I'm going to have to work through stitches to get that even too. Like, not like a big puff. Just, not like a big snout. But, what do you think? Think that'll work as a cat nose? Anyone? Anyone? Just kind of try to imagine like cat ears. Yeah, I think that'll work. But I think I am going to make like a little puff because both my cats have like little pouches. There, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to stuff this most of the way. Oh, I didn't glue it. So I'll take my glue. It's Fabric Fusion. It's permanent fabric glue. Permanent fabric adhesive. And I'm going to actually take the inside where my tail is. I'm going to put some glue there too. I know it looks like I'm making a mess, but I'll show you how I don't make a mess. And then I'm just going to take and put like a nice bead of glue underneath that Pellon, just to make sure that eye doesn't pop through the blanket yarn. Again, if you were using a smaller eye, that would be a concern, but these eyes are pretty giant, so I don't think that's really going to be all that much of a concern. But I still want it glued down there pretty good. And now, yes, I have all this glue here, and what I'm going to do with it is I'm going to put my polyfill. Let me put a little bit more glue here. I'm going to take my polyfill and I'm going to put it on top of that, all like that, so that I can then push it right side out without getting glue all over my fingers. Because now I'm going to start working with the neck, so I'm going to want the majority of that filled anyway. You will have enough room with the blanket yarn, and even with the worsted weight yarn, you'll have enough room to stuff before you make the very last arm. Oh yeah, I'm glad I made those eyes a little bit further apart. Okay, now that I've chattered away and I've sat here and made a decision on eyes and finished that, we did our... Okay, so now we're going to keep decreasing until we get to our neck, and then I will show you how I make my armholes. So for the neck, I'm going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease around. It's going to give me 18 stitches. Again, I'm going to do my invisible decrease, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm picking up from my loops, 6, 7, again to do my loops I would do, or my invisible decrease, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh, I totally misread that. It was supposed to be 2 stitches and then a decrease. Of course. Okay, so 1. It's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. I know what you're thinking. I'm not going to get this done, but I will. At least part of it. And now I'm going to single crochet and decrease around. I will have enough room to put some more stuffing in there then. So 1. If you were going to make a giraffe, there are notes to increase the neck. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's right. Cool. You can pick this up 12. That'll be my last decrease. And that's the neck, and that's the head, and that's pretty much it for the neck and head, because from that point we're going to increase a round or two. I think I increase 2 rounds, and then I separate the arms and the body. So I'll continue working down the body and down the leg. The body is only maybe, I think, 3 rounds around, and the legs are only 2 or 3 rounds around each, as well as the arms when you get to them. I'm not going to stuff it too much because I can always go back and stuff more in it later. Okay, so oh, my polyfill everywhere. It's the only thing bad about it. So there's my head so far. I think that'll be a cute cat. Okay, so now I'm going to start working to increase my shoulders, which I'm just going to do just the opposite. I just did a round of single crochet decrease. I'm going to do a round of single crochet and increase. So single crochet. Again, we're working in spirals, so we don't see any. Put this here so I can hold it. So you don't see the seam. 1, 2, 3. That was my increase. 4. Okay, so to do my increases, I would do my first stitch in the back loop, 5, and then my second stitch in the front loop, 6. And that's how I would do that invisible increase. So 7, 8, 9. Anybody that wants the pattern, it's free on my website. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And one more round of increases, and then I divide for the shoulders. So this is going to be 2 single crochets and 1 increase. So 1, 2, and I am going to put my stitch marker back in there. 2, 3, 4, making a cat. 5, 6. 7, 8. 9, 10. 11, 12. 13, 14. 15, 16. 17, 18. Almost there. 19, 20. 21, 22, in the last 2 stitches, 23, 24. No, I did not choose black just to drive me and you nuts. My grandson asked me to make him a cat for his little brother. And he wanted it to be all black because that was the cat that they used to have and they really liked, who's no longer with them. So I told him, since I get to see him this weekend, that I would make him a black cat, which is why the black yarn. Yeah, I think those eyes will work. Okay, so now we're going to, these are like really the shoulders. So we have 24 stitches, and we're going to take that 24 stitches and we're going to divide them by 4. So we're going to do 6 stitches for the arm, 6 stitches for the front, 6 stitches for the arms, 6 stitches for the back. In order to do that, we're going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, our 6 stitches. And I'm just going to squash this so that I can make sure when I'm looking at it, in between the eyes, I don't know how well you can see it, in between the eyes, I have, this looks like it's directly in between the eyes, so 1, 2, 3. So that's where I would want to start my 6 stitches for my body. So this should work out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It does. So I am going to skip these 6 stitches for the arm. Hang on to that. So I'm going to skip the next 6 stitches for the arm, and I'm going to bring, I'm actually going to tuck it in because it'll make it easier, and I'll pop it back out in a minute. And I'm just going to bring my hook around and do the 6 stitches across the front of the body. So 1, and that's going to start my new round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This may be new to some of you. This may not be new to some of you. So now I can actually, now that I skipped those stitches, if you pop them out, you can see where I skipped them on the round to do the front part or back part. I skipped them on the round to do the front part of the body. So now I'm going to skip the next 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to bring this around. It's easier if you push that in towards you. And I'm going to do the next 6 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, wasn't my choice of yarn, just has a project. And then if you pop that back out, you'll see where you skipped your stitches for your arms. There you go. So you just kind of can gather that's the face. You skipped your stitches for your arms that you will go back and later work around. And right now we're just going to work around these stitches here as the body. And I want to say thank you for everybody that is joining me. Thank you for everybody that's following me and liking me. I really appreciate it. This is just my basic amigurumi body that I use to make pretty much anything. This one's going to be a cat. It is a free pattern on my website. Okay, separate the arms. Now I'm going to do 2 stitches and an increase to make the body a little bit bigger. 2 and increase. Not a lot bigger. You'll notice when you buy stuffed animals and toys, the heads are always bigger than the bodies and the arms and the legs. And that's for a reason, because your eyes kind of play tricks on you. If you made it proportionate, it would look funny. You would see mostly body and not head, and what you're attracted to when you look at a stuffed animal or a plushie or something like that, what you basically want to see is the face and the features, because that's what's going to pop. Now, doing like sculpting is totally different techniques. At that point, you would want your bodies to be proportionate. But when you're doing like just plushies and stuffed animals, you want your head to be about the same size as the rest of your body. So if you took a human and you took their head, you would be able to stack it maybe 8 heads high, and that would be proportionate. When you take your plushie, you will only want to be able to stack it 2 heads high. So you got 1 head here, and the head's about, and the body and the arms and the legs are about the same size as the head. And that makes that pop out. Like, it doesn't look funny, it looks like it's supposed to. So when you make your toys, I know Jamie, if you're here, you're listening to all this again. But so when you make the toys, and again, this is the same body, and I have these patterns as well. Same body. You can see the head, same size. But when you look at it, you see the cow, because this is like your focal point. That's what you want to be big. If you made the cow's head as small as a regular cow's head would be, it would look funny. Just like with the giraffe. The giraffe, all I did was to extend the neck up a little bit and adjust some of the stitches. And the bunny was the same way. Same way. It's the same doll. Again, it's a free pattern, and I do have the pieces for those on my website for free if you wanted them. I have also the tutorials for this doll in particular, and some of the pieces. I think I did the cow. I think I took a whole day to do a giraffe. I don't think I did the bunny as a tutorial. Good morning. I'm working on my black cat for my grandson. But if you go to my YouTube video, all these, I do the teaching in the morning, and then I just kind of sit and crochet in the evenings. But you can go to my YouTube channel, which there is a link in my bio and my link tree, and I upload all these lives when I'm done with them. And you already know that. But you know, for those of you that are just joining us, thank you for joining us, and I do appreciate it. Okay, so now we worked our way around. We increased our body to 16 stitches. I chose to do this because I promised my grandson that I would make him a black cat for his little brother, for his little brother's birthday. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I got that right there, 13, 14, 15, 16. He asked me to make the plushie because he said, you know, yeah, I can make my circles, and I made a plushie. And I said, oh, what kind of plushie did you make? What does it look like? And he said, well, he's 8. He said, well, it just looks like a potato. And I laughed. I said, well, it all kinds of starts out looking like a potato. It's just what you do with the rest of the potato and how many more potatoes you put on your potato to make arms and legs and things. So he said, yeah, but I don't think I have enough time to learn that before my brother's birthday. Do you think you could make me a cat? Thank you. So I said, sure, I can make you a cat. I said, what color cat would you like? And he said, black, like the cat that they had lost. And I went, I love working with black yarn, honey. Sure. There was a little bit of sarcasm in there, by the way. Okay, so that's the black yarn and the black cat. Although this blanket yarn shows up better, cat. At least he tried. Yeah, you know what? He does. He does try, and he does better than he thinks he does. He does really well, actually. I think you heard the story. My son taught himself how to knit. He's like 29 or 30. And he also taught my grandson how to knit. And my grandson came up, they live in the city, I live up in the middle of nowhere, and they came up and they said, yeah, will you show me how to crochet? I want to be able to crochet like you, not knit like Daddy. And I said, okay. So I sat down and showed him, and he was a little bit frustrated. And it's my mother's summertime place. So, you know, my kids come and go. My mother's up here all the time. She comes and goes. So my mother called me later up that evening. She said, you know, he might have put that down while you were here because he was frustrated and he wanted to hang out with you. She said, but once you left, he sat in that corner until he could hold that hook and he can hold that string, and he could do that. I was like, oh my God, really? So, yeah, I'm proud of him. He likes to do it. He's made little coasters. That's the whole thing. If you can make a circle, you can make a lot of things. He's made himself little scarves. Yeah, it's really, really cute. So I can't wait to see him. And I said, of course, I will make you a black cat for your brother. All right, so that was it for the body. Now we're going to work on our legs. And our first leg, and I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I'm going to squash him just to kind of make sure that I get the middle of it as a leg, and that's probably going to be the best I'm going to get. And since I have 16 now, so I'm going to do 8 around for the first leg. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that works out perfectly. So I'm going to do my 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I'm going to skip the next 16 stitches because each leg's going to or the next 8 stitches because each leg's going to have 8 stitches around. So I'm actually going to skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then after I've skipped those 8 stitches, this is the stitch I'm going to work into. So I'm going to skip all of these stitches, and I'm going to bring my hook around, and I'm going to single crochet in the last 4 stitches here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives me my 8 stitches for this leg, and then I will have 8 stitches to work around this leg. So you can see that 8 stitches for this leg that we started, 8 stitches for this leg that we will finish Later we will just join our yarn to here and we will do our arms. We will join our yarn to here and do our second leg. I'm going to do one more round of 8, and then I like to increase for my toes. And then I'm almost done with that part of the body. And then I need to give myself a break here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now to increase for the toes. Amigurumi is sometimes funny because depending on the yarn you're using and where it is, your stitches, because you're working in spirals, will kind of shift. So I just like to squash things and double check that I'm getting things where I want them. So the 3 stitches I want for the toes are going to be the 3 stitches that are right on top here. And I think that's going to fall right into conjunction with 2, 3, the second stitch. So I'm going to stitch that first stitch of the round. So you see there's only a couple of rounds to the feet and the arms, and then you're done. My day is good. How is your day going so far? So far, so good. I'm going to later on, oh, maybe I did want to do those. Oh no, that's where I wanted to put them. So now I'm going to increase in the next 3 stitches. I am happy to say that it did stop raining and did not. Well, I'm glad to hear it's going great. I hope it's really going great and it wasn't like you weren't being sarcastic, because I know sometimes I say things like that. So I've increased in those 2 stitches. I'm going to increase in 1 more stitch. And because I've increased in 3 stitches, it should give me 11. So it's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like I said, this pattern is available on my website and it's free. You're so fast. He'll be done in no time. Eventually, I'm going to work on the pieces and you can see how, if this is the back of my body, the toe kind of starts to pop out and stick out. He's not that big. So I'll work on him today, and I'll work on the pieces for him today, and hopefully I'll get the pieces put up on the website as well. The basic doll is already up on my website. But I'm going to do the same thing one more time. I'm kind of going to look for the front 3 stitches of my toe, which are probably going to be these 3 stitches. So I'm going to single crochet. It's kind of like, you just kind of want to make sure you get things where you want them. Maybe over here. So I'm going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. And then once again, in the very front of the toe, just put my stitch marker back in there. In the very front of the toe, I'm going to increase 3 stitches. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because I started with 11 and I increased 3 more, it'll be 14, so that's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and I'm back to the beginning of my round, at which point I am going to remove my stitch marker, and you can see my toe there, it points out. I am just going to slip stitch around, or not slip stitch around, decrease around for the next 7 stitches. So it's 1, 2, I did that a little bit tight, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the last one, instead of actually doing a single crochet, I'm going to pull up to decrease, and I'm just going to pull through all those loops as a slip stitch. And then I'm going to cut that off, and I'm going to save a little tail, because when you work things like this, you kind of want your tails down here so that you can tie them together, because you will always end up with like just a little gap. But if you thread your tails back down through here after you've closed your loops, you can tie those tails together. You can tie those tails together and it'll close those gaps. But I will just close that up really fast if I can. I know I have like this little corner here on my table where I try to have everything that I want to use. Everything in that one little space. It doesn't work out that way. Okay, so I'm just going to pull this around and close this up. I try to stay on camera. So I'm going to close that up. I'm not going to knot it yet. It's going to stay pretty well because it's blanket yarn, but you can see it will puff out and look like a toe. So I'm going to stuff him down in there. And I can just use the other leg hole and push it up in there. Stuff my body a little bit so you can see what he looks like, and then you would go back and you would just attach your yarn to do the second leg, and then attach your yarn to do the 6 stitches around the arms. And you can see, even though I chattered away here and took my time, it really only took me about an hour to put this together. So I can get them done pretty fast. So I will work on a tail and ears for this cat to make him look like a cat, maybe some whiskers, maybe some little puffy cheeks. I'll see, but you can see how, and this will come down as a second leg, but you can see how the leg has like the little toe on it. And then you're just going to put your other leg here. You're just going to work around after you've joined your yarn, and you're going to join your yarn and work around here for your arms and your hands. And again, they are just a couple of rounds. I think the arms are 4 rounds, 5 rounds. So our legs were 1, 2. So our legs were 4 rounds, and then we decrease closed, and our arms are 4 rounds, and then we decrease closed, and that's pretty much it. And that's with the blanket yarn. Same doll. So you can see how the arms will look. It is a free basic doll for those of you that joined in later. I'm trying to add some basic patterns to my website for people, because I know myself, when I'm trying to do something or create something, sometimes you don't want to think about the simple things. You want to think about the details. So that's what I do with this doll. This doll is my pattern, and it is just the basic doll. So I have the pattern for the basic doll. You can do whatever you wanted to do with them. I have 2 patterns up there for basic puppets, basic sock puppets. One's a pointed nose one, one's a round nose one. The pointed nose one we made a shark out of in a couple of my videos that I did in the mornings, and I uploaded to YouTube. We did the cow, the giraffe, and the bunny out of this one. Out of this doll, I have those patterns on my website. They're all free. It's not like a blog site with ads and things. It's just like my portfolio page. There are links to that. There are links to my shop site. There's links to my Facebook and Instagram if you really want to go there. Yeah, or here on TikTok. Follow me. Like, follow, do my due diligence. My husband's usually here. He always tells me, tell people to like and subscribe. Tell them to go to your YouTube and like and subscribe. There you go. I did it. Go to my YouTube, like and subscribe. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Well, you don't have to subscribe, but just, I'm here usually Monday through Friday around 9:45 in the morning. And I try to do something new. Thank you for all the likes. Thank you for everybody that's joining. I try to do something new every morning to like teach. And then in the evenings when I'm bored, I turn on my camera and just sit here and like do things like this. Which I've done in the past and have already uploaded to YouTube if you wanted to see those tutorials. But yeah, check it out. And I will be back tomorrow. If I have a day where I'm not going to make it in the mornings, I will try to let everybody know the day before, or at least a couple days before. But I will be back tomorrow. I will not be here on Saturday. I know last Saturday I jumped on for a while, but I will not be here this Saturday. I get to see my grandson and take his little cat to him. But I will be back definitely on Monday. So I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for everybody that joined me and hung out for a while. Thank you, Janie. Thank you, Emily, if you're here. I'm not sure. Some of you guys, I know your names. Some of you guys, I don't. But yeah, I will see you. Probably this evening sometime. Who knows? But yeah, I sit and do it anyway, so I might as well turn on the camera and chat. So enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you guys either later on tonight or tomorrow. Thanks.